Hey, welcome to Craft Central Designs. My name is Dwynn, and I'm so pleased you stopped by my channel today. I am sharing with you today how I transformed 3 Easter theme wood cutouts, 2 from Hobby Lobby, 1 from the Dollar Tree, with scrapbook papers, ribbons, trims, and florals. These came out so adorable, and I thought you may enjoy seeing how easily you can transform a simple, plain wood cutout into something totally fabulous. Welcome to my channel today. If you enjoy this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and leave me your comments. I love receiving them. Okay, let me show you just how I created these beautiful bunnies and the Easter egg. Here are the items that you will need to create this piece, or these pieces rather. I have there 2 bunnies. These came from the Easter department at Hobby Lobby. Everything is 40% off right now. I believe it was only $2.50 for each of these very cute bunnies after the discount. I have there some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. Again, I always get my scrapbook paper on every other week. It's 40% off. I painted the sides of my bunnies because I always like to finish the sides of my wood cutouts. I'll show you the wood egg in a bit, but we're going to start off with the bunnies. I love this scrapbook paper. I think it's absolutely beautiful on that bunny cutout. I'm going to be Mod Podging that scrapbook paper onto those wood cutouts. And this paper is absolutely gorgeous. It's a very textured paper. It's kind of a I don't know, it's almost satiny, so beautiful. For this one, I am going to be painting in the color Plaster from Waverly's chalk paint, because that matches the scrapbook paper a little bit better. The other one, I went with the Snow White Waverly chalk paint. I have here an assortment of ribbons. I'm going to be making bows. No surprise there, if you follow my channel. The bunnies are getting bows, and it's going to be so pretty. So again, I'm showing you that scrapbook paper. It actually has bunnies on it and pink florals, and it's so pretty. So I knew I was going to use a little bit of florals on each of the pieces. So I made certain to match my florals to the colors in my scrapbook paper. And if you follow my channel, you hear me often speak about pinks and purples and orchids. They can either be gorgeous together or they can totally clash. So you have to really, put together the materials that you use to be sure that everything really matches well and coordinates. I'm going to be using my regular crafting tools, scissors, a sponge applicator, a paintbrush, and Mod Podge, which I keep in a squirt bottle, and a pencil to trace around the bunnies. This project is so easy and very suitable for the beginner crafter, and the outcome is just so beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start off with the bunny scrapbook paper. So I am just tracing around my bunny on the back side of the paper with a pencil. And then I'm going to just very simply cut it out, and it's going to be placed on that wood bunny cutout. Super easy craft to do here today. You'll notice it's difficult if you use this particular bunny to get the pencil in that little area there in the middle, so you just have to kind of fit your pencil in to trace where you can and then just kind of fill in the lines once you lift the wood bunny off the paper. Now, let me tell you this, that Dollar Tree also has a bunny. In fact, they have a very cute bunny that stands up. It's more of a bunny sitting up, if you will. I don't know how else to say it, but it's super cute. I used it in my last video where I showed you how I covered that also with scrapbook paper. So if you don't want to get this one from Hobby Lobby, it's only $2.50. But if you want to get the one from the Dollar Tree, this would work just as well with the one from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to very simply paint the sides of my bunny. Now for the bunny paper, again, I used a white paint because the background of that paper is white. But for the textured paper, I used plaster because it's more of an off-white and it coordinates better with the scrapbook paper. Okay, so I've traced out both of my bunnies on scrapbook paper. Look how pretty that is. And now I'm going to go about placing my scrapbook paper on my bunnies using Mod Podge. Now you can either squirt it on a plate or squirt it right on the bunny. I like my Mod Podge in a squirt bottle as opposed to dumping it out of the plastic jar. Now I do my, always when I Mod Podge, I always do everything in sections because you want to be sure you have it aligned and properly on the piece before you proceed to lay everything down, because once you put it down, it's difficult to move it. So I'm going to start with the head. And usually if I get the head all aligned perfectly, everything else will just fall into place, so to speak. I did cover both sides of my bunny, but I only adorned the neck of each of the bunnies in the front. So I'm finishing up my Mod Podging there. Now with this textured paper, I didn't find it necessary to use the little piece of saran wrap. I always use saran wrap to smooth out my scrapbook papers, as particularly if they are the thinner scrapbook paper. But this is a very hardy paper, and I found that just using my fingers, let's see, I'm making sure I have everything perfectly aligned there on my bunny. Oh, I guess I did. I really didn't smooth it out. I just was kind of blotting it down, if you will, just to press it down. I didn't want to run my fingers across that textured paper in case I had any Mod Podge on it. So I'm good. Everything is down well. That paper was super easy to put on. And again, I put it on the back as well. So remember to cut your paper correctly. Make sure you're covering. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Make sure that you're placing your paper correctly, and decide which direction as well that you want your bunnies to go when you get ready to put on your embellishments, meaning your ribbons and your florals. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other bunny with the bunny scrapbook paper. This one turns out so pretty. And such a fun idea as well to use that bunny scrapbook paper on the bunny. Might sound silly, but it's so pretty. Love, love, love this one. These two bunnies I used to decorate in my ultrasound lab. And I have a shelf that I always decorate the top of the shelf. And this year I'm having an Easter egg ornament tree. Actually, it's the tree that I made on my channel for Valentine's Day when I put the little hearts on it. But I got some little egg ornaments. I decorated my tree, put it in a pink bucket, looks kind of like an Easter basket, but it's a metal bucket, pink. And I made a beautiful, big, gorgeous bow to put on the bucket. And these two bunnies are sitting next to my Easter egg ornament tree. And it's so pretty. I have white lights on kind of a batting placement all over the top of the shelf. And then I also made a garland, an Easter garland, and it turned out so pretty. Made a pretty little top for the shelf in my ultrasound lab. It's just nice to brighten things up, make things a little festive. I'm going to do a quick little video soon of how I put together that tree, so you will be able to see that. And I did do a little video as well of the top shelf, my little scene I created for my lab. Look how pretty this is. Now you can see that I used the balled up saran wrap on this one. This was a thinner paper. I wanted to be sure I didn't have any bubbles. And I did both sides, and it's so, so pretty. I really love it. Making sure that everything is adhered all the way out to the edges of each of the bunnies. And now where we have an assortment of those narrow ribbons, and these are from various sources. They have ribbons, narrow ribbons like this at the Dollar Tree. So you could easily create the majority of this project with items from the Dollar Tree, with the exception of the scrapbook paper. Now, I'm certain they don't carry these scrapbook papers at the Dollar Tree, but on occasion I have seen packages of paper at the Dollar Tree, but I'm not sure it would be big enough. So you could search for that. If you don't find it, honestly, Hobby Lobby scrapbook paper is not expensive. Go every other week to Hobby Lobby. They have their scrapbook paper on sale, 40% off. So it's, very affordable. So now I'm going to start creating little bow embellishments for the neck of my bunnies. So I'm just creating the bows in the same manner that I normally do. This one's going to be a 4-loop bow, 2 loops on each side, and I do leave about 4 inches of tails on there, and I have a little piece of craft wire. I'm just going to wrap that around to secure it in the middle. I'm going to be creating a few little bows here, stack them together to go on the neck of my bunny. That pink one I just used was a Dollar Tree ribbon. This one is a little bit of a burlap type of a ribbon with little stitching on the side. I believe I got this in a pack of little narrow ribbons on clearance at Michael's. But you could find a ribbon suitable. They do have a couple of different burlap themed ribbons, narrow ribbons at the Dollar Tree. You could also use Dollar Tree's jute twine. I like to mix jute twine and narrow ribbons together. And this one has more of a kind of a country sort of farmhouse feel to it, this bunny. So with the color of the bunny, I thought I would use that burlap. It would kind of coordinate well. I have there another really pretty ribbon. I believe this one was from Walmart. I love their narrow ribbons, and those also are very affordable. But again, search the ribbons at Dollar Tree. Look in the Crafter's Square section, but also look in the Easter section. And you'll find narrow ribbons there that are very suitable for this project, as well as that bunny that I suggested that you look for at the Dollar Tree. All of my bows have 2 loops, and I make them all pretty much the same. I do often do like what I call a figure 8 bow, where I just create a figure 8, and then the center of the bow is the middle of the 8, obviously. So I put all of those together to form one bow. Now I have a little baby pink rose that I got at Hobby Lobby. However, Dollar Tree has florals. So try and find some little small floral. Now, a bigger one is certainly not going to work, but look for some little small florals at Dollar Tree. They do have them. I'm going to pop my little pink baby rose right in the middle of my pretty little bow that I created there with pink ribbon, a burlap ribbon, and a white ribbon with stitching. I'm going to hot glue that to the back of the neck of the bunny. And that looks just so pretty. That little baby rose picks up the pinks in the florals in that scrapbook paper. The white ribbon obviously goes with the white background. And I think that burlap ribbon goes very nicely with the rabbits. Now, if you need to trim up the sides, you could do so with scissors, or you can use a sanding block or a zip sander. I trim mine up with scissors, but you do you, whatever you prefer. Now, for my other bunny, I went ahead and I made my bow. This time I used a little lace. I thought that would be so pretty on this piece. And it's kind of an off-white, so it goes very pretty on that paper. And then I used a pink ribbon. And I have some little tiny baby florals. These are very tiny little flowers. And I'm going to just place those around the bow to embellish that piece a little bit. Give it a little bit of color. I believe I did use a touch of little white flowers as well. But no matter, whatever, just use very tiny flowers on these to put around these very small bows. Or like the other bunny, you can use a little bit bigger flower if you're popping it right in the middle of your bow. But if you're placing your flowers around the bow, you want to go with very, very small, tiny flowers. And I just simply used hot glue to adhere my little florals around my bow. That lacy, it's just it was kind of a ribbon lace. It was a little bit of heavier lace. It just looks super pretty on that bunny. Yeah, my other bunny that I made on my previous video sitting there watching the process going on here. I just noticed that bunny sitting there. And again, this project, so easy. You may find that after you get your bunny all together and you inspect the edges, that you do have some areas that need trimming up. And like I mentioned, you can use a sanding block. There is a technique using a lighter, which I don't do that. I'm sure it's safe. I've seen it done. I just don't do it. The reason why I'm kind of laughing here is because my son is a firefighter. And every time I think about using that technique, I think of what he would say about that. And I just have a very strong feeling he would have a lecture to go with it. So I don't ever do that. Just always have the fear that, gosh forbid, something happens. And boy, would I really have to hear about it. So I never use the lighter technique. And like I said, I'm sure it's safe. I've seen it done. I just don't do it. I could hear my son's voice in my head. So he would never approve of that, I'm sure. Anyway, a little background information into my life. So I am using a little bit of white flowers there, as I mentioned before. Now, these bunnies are awesome because they stand on their own. And here we have the egg. After I did my previous video with the chick and the bunny and the carrot, I went to a Dollar Tree and found the egg, and I was very excited. Now, I'm telling you, you could go crazy making like about 20 eggs, and none of them could even look alike. There are so many ways to decorate these eggs. I'm using scrapbook papers, and I'll show you how I'm going to do mine here. As we go along, I'm doing mine in pinks and orchids and purple. And I chose a swirly pattern on that piece, a striped. I wanted lots of visual interest on my egg. And I'm going to use two of these ribbons. I ended up using the purple because I'm going to create a sash around my Easter egg. Now, if you have one of these cutters, they are so awesome to cut straight lines. Very handy to use, but if you don't, an old-fashioned ruler will do just fine. Other than that, you just need some Mod Podge, a pair of scissors, and a pipe cleaner. You'll need some paint to paint the sides. A sponge applicator, a pencil to trace around your egg, some saran wrap. I have a couple different size scissors that I use when I cut out, or if I trim around the sides, I use a smaller scissor to trim up my sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint. Now I'm going to tell you that the first layer that you put on this is that MDF material. It's going to soak your paint up, so you're going to have to do 2 coats of paint. And I chose a pink to go with my scrapbook paper. So what I'm going to be doing is creating layers to my egg. Now I'm going to be laying my egg down on my scrapbook paper, and I'm going to decide about my first layer. My first layer meaning I'm going to create sections on my egg. So I'm deciding here just about how long I want my first section on my egg, or the bottom half of my egg. So I just draw around the egg, and then I use my cutter and I just place it on the cutter, and it's got a little ledge at the bottom so that you can place it on there and your paper will be very straight. And then there's a center cutting line there on the cutter, if you're familiar with this type of cutter, and I'm showing you there, and you just align it with where you want to cut, and then you just take your little knob and cut right through it, and it cuts these perfectly straight lines, and it's so awesome. But again, you can use a ruler. It works just fine. I used a ruler for many years before I had a cutter. So easy to do. You just have to determine how wide you want each of your sections. And then I just trim up that area where I traced around the egg. And I'll show you here in just a second how it looks on the egg. And I just go up the egg and build my egg as I go, as strange as that might sound. But this is my bottom, and you can see what I'm referring to there. And that scrapbook paper is super pretty. And then my next section is going to be something with orchid. So I got to change up my colors. Oh my goodness. With this egg, you could just do so many great things. You could make this in so many different colors. You could embellish it with rickrack. And oh my goodness, you could put little flowers on it. This is just the most fun egg that Dollar Tree came out with. I'm so pleased about the wood cutouts this season because they offer so much flexibility and creativity. So now I'm deciding here about how wide I want that section. I just trace around my egg. And then I go back to my little cutter, and I'm just going to place that paper down on that little ledge to keep my paper really straight. And I'm just going to cut a line right through that area that I marked off with my pencil around my egg. These cutters are very inexpensive. You could find them at any craft store. You could find them on Amazon, Walmart, anywhere. They're really awesome to have if you enjoy working with scrapbook paper. So I'm going to trim up that area there where I traced it around the side of the egg. And this is going to be my second section of my egg. Now I'm working with a spare egg that I had because you could see my other one is off at the side drying. So that's the reason why I'm working with that wood-looking egg again, because I have spare. I bought a few, of course. And that's the second layer. So now I'm going to do another layer, which is going to be something in pink. And this one, can't see it very well, but it has swirls. So I've got a stripe, a polka dot, and now I'm adding a swirl. So you see how mixing up your patterns is such a great idea. So I place it on there and turn it over. And I just want to get like a good idea where I'm going to trace around my egg. So I can actually lift my egg off as well, place the pieces together, align my paper, and then I'm going to put my egg back on and trace around the egg and the section that is coming up next, which is my pink swirl paper. So about the depth or the thickness of that section, I just trace around. It's kind of a guideline for me to know where to place my cut. Place my paper on the little ledge so it's straight. Now I'm just going to take it and cut a straight line right through that paper. And then trim the sides. And I'll show you what that looks like on the egg. So of course we're going to be Mod Podging all of these onto that egg. And then I have one more piece of scrapbook paper to go. This egg would look fabulous in mixing a lot of colors, like yellow, like a pretty Easter yellow, maybe some aqua or teal, some polka dot paper. Now, if any of your sections now I can see right there that I need to straighten out that line a little bit. Easy enough to do. If you're using a ruler, just use a ruler. I actually did straighten that piece out. Looked like it was going a little bit uphill to me. And so then for the top, I just placed my egg on there, approximated the line around the top of the eggs, as you can see there. And I'm just going to put it on my cutter. And again, if you were using a ruler, you just put your ruler down, draw a line across it, cut it out. It's very simple. And I cut it out, and that's the last piece to complete the scrapbook paper on my egg. Now, of course, upon placing these scrapbook papers on my egg, I could have stopped there, but no, I had I had to keep going, and I decided on the lines between the line that separates each paper. I needed to delineate that with something. So I went to my trims and I took out a little baby white rickrack. You've seen me, if you watch my channel, you've seen me use it before. And I decided to place rickrack across those where the papers meet on each of the sections. But look how pretty that is. And think about it. Think about how you could decorate this egg. You could put one solid piece with a print and put a sash bow around it. Like, for example, that rabbit paper that we were just looking at that I put on the rabbits. That would be beautiful on this with a sash around the egg with a pink satin ribbon. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I have like at least 1,000 ideas for these egg cutouts. I could do this all day. But really, just use your imagination, use your creativity, and think about how you could do it. You could also take these eggs and use napkins to cover them. That's a fun thing to do. Place down Mod Podge, put down one ply of a napkin, oh my goodness, that's fun to do. I use a little baby heat press to do that technique. I might do an egg like that for you. Now I'm getting my my creative juices are flowing. Let's put it that way. I think I might do one of those eggs with a napkin. I think that would be an awesome idea. Okay, so obviously you can see here that I am Mod Podging on each of my pieces. And I just take my sponge applicator and I go along the line of my paper, and I am going to use my saran wrap because none of these papers are as thick as that paper I used on the bunny. So I am going to use my saran wrap balled up. I had that upside down. I see there. And there I'm using my saran wrap. I do not have problems with bubbling in my paper. And I'm going to presume it has to do with the fact that I'm using this saran wrap. If I have any bubbling at all when I first put it down, I just use my saran wrap and lightly smooth it over the paper, and it's awesome. Now again, after cutting out 4 different papers, you may need to finish the edges. If you trim them up, you can trim them with scissors, or you can use a sanding block or a zip sander or a lighter. We already went over that. I suggest more so for this piece because you could get some little marks from using a lighter. And this paper is very pretty in pastel. I wouldn't want to chance using that technique with this paper. So I would go with a zip sander, a sanding block, or a good old pair of scissors, which is pretty much what I do. When I use the napkin, I do use a zip sander though. I think I'm going to do, and I think I've got like 4 eggs. I have plenty to get busy with if I want to. And there's my last piece going on. Look how pretty this is. Could just be so creative with the amount of scrapbook papers available, especially at Hobby Lobby. Just think of the possibilities. You could do a grouping of these eggs, maybe like 3 of them, make them all different. Set them on a shelf next to one another. Oh, they would look so pretty. And there you have it. And on the back side, I just put a pink piece. Again, this piece is going to have a front, but I'm going to cover the back so it has more of a finished look. And here we have a couple of different rickracs that I took out. This is another option to decorate your eggs, rickrack. You could put little gems, I don't know what to call them. The little sparkly gems, you could put those on the egg. You could put little flowers across the egg the same way that I'm putting that rickrack on. You could line flowers going across those lines between the different papers. Little baby flowers. Oh my goodness, that would be so pretty as well. There's that baby rickrack. Look how pretty that looks. I'm going to place that in 2 places. So I'm showing you how rickrack can really decorate your eggs. I use a tacky glue. Aleene's tacky glue is my favorite. And that's how I'm going to adhere the rickrack to the egg. Look how pretty that is. And it really makes it look so much more finished. Now I had the idea to create kind of a sash with a bow to put around my egg. So I thought I would go ahead and show you how I did that. I have just a little bit of this beautiful orchid polka dotted ribbon left from a previous project. So I'm just going to create a bow with just 2 loops. I want to say it's about 4 inches long in length, each of the loops. I'm just going to fold over my loops, pinch it in the center, and hope that I have enough to finish this bow because I only have a small piece of ribbon there. And I'm going to wrap a pipe cleaner around the center, twist it in the back, and then I'm going to create a center loop just to finish off my bow there. I twist my ribbon, fold it over, turn it under, and create a center loop. Holding it with my thumb underneath there. And I'm going to take the pipe cleaner from the back, stick it right through the center there of my center loop. Catch it on the other side, pull it through, and twist it in the back. And now my bow is all joined together. and stable with that pipe cleaner wrapped around it. I take that little tail on top, stick it through my center loop, and oh, I got lucky there because I had just enough for a couple of short little tails, which I'm going to angle my tails on this bow. And cut them off. It's going to go right on that egg. I think that's a very cute way to finish one of these eggs. I'm going to cut those pipe cleaners off in the back because I'm going to be gluing that right to the egg. But before I do that, I'm going to create a ribbon that's going to wrap around the egg to the back. And yes, I did put that rickrack on there, and now I'm covering it up. But I'm glad that I did it because now you can see how beautiful it is to use rickrack on these eggs. Now, rickrack comes in different widths. As you can see, I have that very tiny rickrack there. It comes in a myriad of different widths, so you can even use different widths of rickrack on one egg. So for the center of my piece of ribbon that I'm going to wrap around this egg, I wanted to gather the ribbon. That's where I'm going to be placing my bow. And I'm just going to snip that off. I just scrunched that ribbon right in the middle because I wanted it gathered on the front of the egg like that. Now I am going to cover up the rickrack. Yes, I am. I put it on there so you could see it. And now I'm covering it up. But this is going to look super cute in the end. So I'm just going to wrap that ribbon around there, around the sides of that egg. And I'm going to hot glue it in the back. And then I'm going to hot glue my bow right there in the center where I gathered that ribbon. And that's going to complete the look for this egg. And I hope while you're watching this that you're thinking about how you could decorate these eggs. Now, I've been getting a number of comments of frustration. You all are having problem finding these wood cutouts. I'm going to suggest to you, do not just go to one Dollar Tree and give up. I have multiple Dollar Trees that I frequently go to on my travels. Let me stop and say this for a second. I have a wood flower here that I created for another project. I put a foam rose from the Dollar Tree on it, and I happened to come across it, and I said, oh my gosh, would this not be a cute look for this egg? So do you see what I mean? You can go crazy with creativity with these eggs. I covered that little flower with scrapbook paper, popped a foam rose in the middle, and I could have put that on there. So I finished the egg. Now I'm showing you the finished bunnies. Oh my gosh. What can I say? Oh, you can see my dog walking in the background there. Savannah, my Labradoodle. She found a way to get into my video. And there's the egg with the ribbon sash. So pretty. Anyway, go to other Dollar Trees. Don't give up on one. Okay? Until next time, you all take care.